Hey, welcome back to Already Overbooked. My name's Josh, and today I'm going to be going over my top 15 favorite authors. But I have to throw a little twist in there. The authors had to have a published book within the last 5 years. So that means there's going to be no Tolkien, there's going to be no Martin. They're not going to be on this list. Also, I had to have at least read two of the author's books. So let's jump in to the top 15. All right. So before we kick off my favorite authors, I have five honorable mentions I have to go through and talk about. These are authors that made such a huge impression on me, but I only read one of their books. But they're all so good that I could easily see any of them jumping up to my top 15. So let's go over these five. The first one is Steve Stark, a rising name in horror. I picked up Violent Ends and it was gritty, disturbing, and impossible to go through and put down. If the rest of his works hold up, I can easily see him climbing up that ladder very, very quickly. Number two is Janelle Shekels. She is the author of Death Cult, and that book was everything I wanted in a modern horror. It was dark, it was smart, it was unique, and it stayed with me way long after I turned that last page. Third on the honorable mentions is Molly Macabre, one of the most original horror voices I have read recently. Dark Bloom blends dread with atmospheric nature in such a distinct way. It definitely left a mark, and I'm super excited to read book two when it comes out. Number four is Tarana Reeve Dew. Her work is haunting both in tone and in messaging. I read The Reformatory and was completely pulled into that layered storytelling and social commentary, and it is impactful and was a huge gut punch. The last one, but certainly not least, is Nick Horvath. I dove into Sledge vs. the Labyrinth, and this one hit me in the face like a freight train and did not slow down. If you like high stakes, clever plotting, and memorable characters, he's one to watch out for. All right, now it's time for that main event. My top 15 authors that wrote a book within the past 5 years. These are authors I keep coming back to, whose new releases I immediately add to my TBR. Now, I did not go through and rank these authors, so I decided the best way to discuss these authors is by their most popular genre they write, and I will group them together within those genres. So the first one up is fantasy. I have a total of five authors within the fantasy realm. First one on the list is Michael J. Sullivan. His work just has that classic epic fantasy feel with characters you root for, world building that's very easily to digest and lose yourself in, whether it's Rhaenyra or Legends of the First Empire. He's consistently excellent in each of his series that he goes through and puts out. Number two on the fantasy list is no surprise here. It has to be the King of Grimdark, Lord Grimdark himself, Joe Abercrombie. His Age of Madness trilogy blew me away with his razor sharp wit, political scheming, and unforgettable characters. I am super excited for his new book to go through, The Devils to come out. That one, I'm going to jump into it the second it comes out. Number three on the fantasy list is Justin Lee Anderson. The Lost War completely snuck up on me. It's clever, it's twisty, and proves that high fantasy still has some surprises up its sleeve. Number four is Brian Staveley. The love I have for Brian Staveley's books is really hard to go through and put into words. The way he blends philosophy and violence is so well done. His newer works is very focused with maturity and intensity that really hits home. I am a huge fan of Brian Staveley's writing styles and the way he goes through and builds on characters. Such a gem. The last one, but definitely not least on the fantasy list, is Leo Carew. The Wolf was such a great book that I immediately binged the rest of his series. His writing is poetic and the world feels so fresh but yet so familiar and so lived in. If you have not gone through and read The Wolf, you are missing out. The next is where you have one under the horror genre, and this one may surprise you, but it is not Stephen King. I know, I know. I had to give it to his son, Joe Hill. One of my go to authors for horror that hits on both story and emotions. Heart shaped box, horns, Nosferatu, all top tier for me. I adore Joe Hill, and all of his works he goes through and puts out that I've read have been banger after banger. Fantastic author in the horror genre. Next genre we have is science fiction. I have three authors here. First one has to be Pierce Brown. Red Rising is one of my favorite series of all times, and I can never shut up about them. He blends action, strategy, emotion, and it's all unmatched and an amazing storytelling dynamic. And I am super hyped for the final book to come out probably sometime next year. So super excited to read Red God. Two under science fiction is James S.A. Corey. The Expanse series redefined the way that I look at space opera. The scope, the characters, the political nuance, it's all there in this book series. It's so well done, and I just have to read anytime I see James S.A. Corey books come. I have to go through and pick them up and go through and read them. The last one under science fiction is one of my favorite authors. I've read every single one of his books, and he is becoming more mainstream and more popular. And it's very easy to go through and tell when you go through and pick up a Blake Crouch book. When I want a good edge of my seat read, Crouch is the guy. Recursion, dark matter, both melt in my brain and had so much to go through and think about. And they're all fantastic and very easy reads. I adore Blake Crouch's writing. The next is thrillers. So I ended up having four under thrillers. The first one has to go to Greg Hurwitz, Orphan X. I've mentioned it so many times so far on the channel. It's one of the best thriller series going on right now. It's fast paced, but never mindless. Fantastic series. Pick up Orphan X. You'll definitely thank me. The next one is has to go to Jack Carr. He is easily becoming one of the best military thrillers. He does it right. His books have precision, it has tension, and it has just enough emotion to keep you grounded. And it is a lot of fun to go through and read. Definitely in the modern military thriller genres now. Next under thriller has to go to a legal thriller with heart and smarts. This is Steve Cavernall. He does legal thrillers so well. His plotting is always tight, and I've loved everything I've read from Steve Cavernall. The last one, but surely not least, under the thriller is S.A. Cosby. S.A.'s books punch you right in the gut. Razorblade Tears was one of the best blends of crime fiction and character depth I have ever read. And he has a way of building real characters and real people, and you really feel their emotions. He does such a great job on character development in any genre, not just thriller. Under urban fantasy, we have two amazing authors. We have Jim Butcher, the man, the myth, the legend of the Dresden Files. He always continues to deliver, and few authors can maintain momentum with such a long series. But Butcher always finds a way to go through and surprise you and keep his books grounded and real, and I just love them so much. The next one under urban fantasy is Fonda Lee. The Greenbow Saga is a master class in family dynamics, power struggles, and the modern fantasy. It feels like The Godfather with Jade and martial arts, and it works so well. So there you have it. My top 15 favorite authors from the last 5 years, plus a few honorable mentions sprinkled in there. If you've read any of these authors, let me know your favorites in the comments. If I missed someone that you love, let me know who I should be going through and reading next. And don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do. Till I see you in the next one.